Good morning and happy Friday. We're in Mark's Gospel, chapter 1, verse 35 through chapter 2 and verse 17. I hope you can see me. I'm always trying something different with the lights. I honestly feel like those, 60-minute, interviews where they've got like half the face lit up, the other half isn't, or it's like the face is fuzzy because they're trying to hide the person's identity. It just got this goofy thing going on, but I'm doing my best. Hope you're having a great time already and want to give you some food for thought from last week's sermon. So last week I used several categories that just kind of went one to the other from Mark's Gospel related to healing. So I kind of gave the phrase at one point that Jesus was a doctor and he's healing bodies, he's healing sin, he's healing the social stigma. Another phrase that we could use to look at how this passage unfolds is the idea of pressing through. So that Jesus was pressing through barriers when he touched the leper. The leper was pressing through a barrier when he comes out of the colony and exposes himself to Jesus relationally. Pressing through the crowds. So the paralytic and his friends press through the big crowd at the home of Jesus, and Jesus presses through social stigma when he reaches out to Levi. And one area that we didn't get into but would fall right in line is pressing through the daily pressures. Pressing through daily pressure. That's actually from the first episode that was read last week where Jesus rises early in the morning. Reading from Mark chapter 1 verse 35. And rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he departed and went out to a desolate place. Some translations will say lonely. And there he prayed. And Simon and those who were with him searched for him, and they found him and said to him, "Everyone is looking for you." And he said to them, "Let us go on to the next towns, that I may preach there also, for that is why I came out." And he went throughout all Galilee, preaching in their synagogues and casting out demons. So here the idea is that Jesus is pressing through this daily pressure, which is what? Everyone's looking for him. He can't move or walk around without some flocking of people to him. Parents, mothers in particular, you may understand this very well. You've got children, little children, and they are at your feet. You've got teenagers and they're in your space. Hey, what about this? Can I get a ride? I need $20. Grandparents, you may face another series of daily pressures that you have. Those who go to work in Boston, you've got the daily pressures of traffic and commute and limited time. Those who work in Worcester and working multiple shifts, you've got daily pressure of not even having a rhythm, but each day looking so different and trying to cope and set up with a schedule. So we've got a whole host of daily pressures, and I think it would be very beneficial to go around the room or talk however that gets distributed in your group with one another. Just share your daily pressures. Getting those expressed and sharing those is extremely healthy and also reflective. It just helps us think about what am I facing on a daily basis that causes pressure. And then secondly, share and discuss with one another how do we as humans typically cope with those pressures. How do I as an individual deal with the pressure? Do I look for escapes? Do I look for just focus and get through it? Do I embrace it? Do I hide from it? Do I try to just get out of the house as quickly as possible? Do I tell kids, go to their room, get out of my face? Do I calmly sit down and say, all right, we're going to make this a priority, so I reprioritize the pressures of the day. Share that one with another, and then lastly talk about the role of prayer as it relates to dealing with pressure. So personalize it. How does prayer for you link up with dealing with pressure? And for Jesus, he's setting an example that he rises very early in the morning and goes off to a lonely place. So he provides some separation, some special moment in which he and the Heavenly Father can commune, can be together. So he seems to set in motion a pattern of doing that before he faces the sunrise and all that comes with it in the day. So that early morning prayer, early morning preparation is part of what Jesus is showing us here. Of course, we may not be in that habit, and this isn't to insinuate that we have to be in that habit, but we should pause and think, how does my prayer life impact how I face daily pressure? And what can I learn from Jesus in this moment? So share those things that we're learning, and then of course pray. That's one of the great gifts that we're given, to communicate and commune with God. And prayer gives us just a very open and always 24/7 accessibility to God. So enjoy your prayer. Pray one for another. Pray that we'll grow in our handling of daily pressure. I don't think it's going to decrease on its own. I don't think the world has ever existed without some degree of daily pressure. So what God is always modeling for us is not how to escape permanently, but how to have moments where we draw back so we can get insight on how to work with the daily pressure. Or in this case, Jesus reprioritizes and changes the schedule and says, hey guys, not going back into that town. We're going to press on to some other towns. So the daily pressure can be alleviated by simply following what it is the Father wants done. Enjoy. Have a great time. God bless. We'll see you next week.